ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the European Masters playoffs. It's all to go now as we have whittled down to 8 remaining teams, and they'll be battling out in this quarterfinals over the next 2 days to see who can advance further through into the tournament. My name is Hjarnan, and I am joined by Orcs. Orcs, how are you feeling right now?
I'm hyped. I'm hyped for series. That's what we're here for because they're exciting, and we have a lot of exciting teams left in the tournament.
Well, let's have a little look at those. Let's have a little look at those teams. Over in Group A, we had LDLC and Kick make it out. Then on B, it is a Go Rogue versus GamerLegion. Not versus, sorry, they both made it out of that group. Then over in Group C, it's Vodafone Giants and Misfits Premier who made it out of that one. And Group D, Mouse and Gamers Origin were our team. So that's our 8 teams we got coming up. And let's have a little look at the bracket and what we've got coming up today. So we'll be starting the day off with Vodafone Giants versus GamerLegion, and then it'll be LDLC versus Gamers Origin a little bit later on today. And then tomorrow, the Go Rogue and Misfits and Mouse and Kick. Let's focus a little bit more on this first game, this first best of 3, GamerLegion versus Vodafone Giants. Orcs, this is actually going to be a really, really spicy one. I think some of the things that I've really loved about GamerLegion is just, as Gorbal put it, they are the mad scientists when it comes to draft. They just go for crazy things and they make it work.
Yeah, I mean, they're just very different from a lot of teams in the tournament, quite unique in that sense, because we definitely had a sort of bot lane mages meta for a significant amount of time, but not many people have continued with that. We've seen it sort of ebb away, and even Karthus, the most recent one, isn't prioritized too highly, but GamerLegion just don't care. They will play mages bot lane, they will flex between mid and bot, and they have their style and it has worked for them. Their week 2 in group stages was huge to get them to this point.
Yeah, it really, really was. I think one of the things that stands out most to me when I think about GamerLegion is the full AP Galio. When they flexed Hjarnan into the mid lane on the Jhin. And it's just things like this that make them so hard to draft for. But over on the side of Vodafone Giants, they had a pretty dominant Group C. Some really, really good performances. Attila's the one who really stands out to me. And I think bot lane's going to be a really, really exciting one in this matchup. You can see, obviously, our lineup for these GamerLegion briefly on our screens. But let's talk a little bit about Attila here.
Yeah, so Attila, veteran status, by all means, obviously had a huge run in the EULCS and LEC and has been pulling a lot of weight within his team domestically and as well in situations like this where he can be the primary carry. They will look to challenge in the 2v2, but there are a lot of situations where Erdote can also play around the rest of his team. I think as much as Attila is the main name you're drawn to, I think Pretty and Lamabear have really shown up as well in this tournament.
Absolutely. Now, I do want to draw the fact that Vodafone Giants chose red side here. GamerLegion on the blue. There's the Hecarim banned away from Rabble. He's played that the most out of any junglers in this tournament.
There has been one game where GamerLegion won on blue side and Hecarim was banned, and that was the tiebreaker against a Go Rogue where they lost. So I'm glad that Vodafone Giants are adapting to this situation. Lucia, no surprises, drawn heavy bans towards Nite on that one. Yeah. I expect the Heimer to be the last ban in this situation. GamerLegion could end up banning Caitlyn here, and specifically because they actually have more of a tendency to ban Caitlyn on blue side. On red side, it feels like they're more comfortable dealing with it when they have access to the likes of Jhin. And I think the concern is if they don't ban Caitlyn here and Vodafone Giants ban the Jhin away, they don't have as good at options. But we'll see. Actually going for the Ornn in this situation, so potentially the Caitlyn could be something that Vodafone Giants pick up. We haven't seen GamerLegion lead on it, which is why it's a bit of a unique thing for this team.
I think, and also when we do look at the other things that have been taken away, the Nidalee now, I think bot lane's very open. You've got the likes of the Ashe, you've got the likes of the Caitlyn. Hjarnan has his Heimerdinger and his Ziggs open as well. Those have been permaban versus him for the majority of the tournament. There's a lot open bot lane, and I think coming into this series, we expected bot to be the really explosive point to look out for. So we'll see what they're prioritizing here in this bot lane now that everything is open.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested. Often, I mean, the big thing with GamerLegion, we see them take that first pick jungle on blue side. They're still running along with that, but the Hecarim's disabled. But with Nidalee being taken away as well, they feel confident taking the Graves in the situation. Nidalee normally a good matchup. And Vodafone Giants will lock that Caitlyn in, no surprise. And the question is going to be, what will GamerLegion answer with? Typically, you expect them to take a Jhin in this scenario, but they have been leaning more towards mages on the blue side. So far in their games, it's been very much mage-focused blue side, AD carry-focused red side for the most part. Not completely, but the vast majority. So we'll see what comes through. The Sett also for Lamabear does give him that early pressure.
Yeah, it does. And this is something we've seen a lot from Vodafone Giants. They love to lock in their AD carry and jungler in their first rotation. That's the Heimerdinger for Hjarnan. It's barely been, I think he's had like 1 game on it. No, he's not had a single game, actually, on the Heimerdinger. So this is first one of the tournament.
Banned against him the entire time.
Like I said, it's perma banned.
Ziggs has been hit or miss. There's been moments where people ban it, moments where people leave it open, but Heimer has consistently been banned. The big thing is, though, this is a series.
Yeah.
You come into the series, you prep for GamerLegion, you say, okay, we're going to deal with the Heimer, we have a plan. If it fails game one, you still have an opportunity to bounce back in this situation. So I respect the decision, because if you come out and win this game and you're like, we no longer need to ban Heimer, you've just freed yourself up a ban for the entire series. So really important in that regard. We do see the Ornn come in for phones. Again, most played for him in this tournament. No big surprise there. Vodafone Giants just going to answer with the Gangplank, which is a pretty solid matchup in this regard. It can be a bit tricky if you fall behind. The Ornn gets a bit too tanky, but it is generally seen as a counter matchup just because of how well GP scales.
And it's another one of the champions that has been played the most by Antonio. He's had Kennen and GP as his kind of like the walls he leans on in the top lane. He's played them the most. But this is the one thing about GamerLegion that they do stick to. Ornn. They love Ornn. It gives them team fighting capability. It's probably the only thing, that and the Hecarim have been like the only things that you could really predict from GamerLegion. They will pick up if they can. But over Vodafone Giants, they've also got a draft that I'm really liking here.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. I think Vodafone Giants came in. I think the plan to leave the Heimer open was good. I think you've given yourself tools to play around bot lane. You got a strong skirmish and jungler. You got a scaling. I mean, it's Caitlyn. It's just Caitlyn in a nutshell. And then you have GP who can ult down. And it really comes down to the bans coming out here. Galio and Aurelia, both powerful dive champions that could be a threat to the Caitlyn. I like them being removed. And also big picks for Nite. We obviously saw that one-shot build for his Galio. Whereas GamerLegion just targeting the supports in this situation. You don't really need to focus on something like Morgana. Morgana isn't an issue really for the Heimer because you can very easily break the shield. Leona is something that Erdote is happy to lean on, but we'll see what the second one is. You could potentially throw a ban at the Lux, but ultimately I expect them to be more concerned about the more aggressive picks in the bot lane.
Oh, we're going to take away the Braum, so something that can offer a little bit of aggression and a little bit of safety. It's a kind of mixture of both.
I think this is more about the response to the Ornn.
Yes.
I don't think that Braum is very good into Heimer at all. It's not something you'd want to specifically take in that lane matchup. But again, blocking away the Ornn is a massive factor, and that's why they have banned that away. Pretty is just going to take the Syndra, so something that can apply pressure. Nite will have counter pick, and then it will be a blind support. So we'll have to see what Visdom will take in this situation. They tend to leave Visdom very late in the draft to pick up his support pick. They like him having counter, but obviously on the blue side, not always a possibility.
See what GamerLegion decide to lock in the mid lane here to deal with Pretty on this Syndra. It's going to be the Jayce lock in here. Technically flexible with that Ornn. You can put the Ornn mid if you really want to.
GamerLegion have shown that they will put the Ornn mid.
Yeah, and especially when you're into this Gangplank, like you're saying, it's actually it can be a rough matchup for the Ornn. So take the Jayce, get that range to deal with him. Now they're looking for their support. What do they want to put with Heimerdinger in this bot lane? That's the question for me. There's still a few supports left open. Obviously, the Fresh taken away and a couple supports banned away from GamerLegion. But
I think actually based on the ban, they hovered the Pantheon before. I think you could take it. Or I mean, they're going to go for the Nautilus as well. Those bans also feed into that. Leona and Braum are the good matchups into Nautilus that cause issues. So they did telegraph this one a bit. It also gives them a powerful ult to utilize on these mobile backline carries. But now comes to Vodafone Giants' answer in this situation. Morgana is good with Caitlyn and it can handle the Nautilus, but it's not so good into the likes of the Heimer, so it seems like the best option, but it's not completely optimal in this situation just because the Heimerdinger.
Oh, there it is. The comps are drafted together. We now know what we're looking at here. What is the game plan? That's my question. GamerLegion, they've got something a bit different. It's what we expect from them, to be honest. They do draft a bit different. But what is actually this comp designed to do? What is the game plan for them?
Well, I think for GamerLegion, they have a lot of priority in the bot lane, and potentially you can actually challenge in the mid lane with the nerfs to Syndra. Jayce can shove pretty effectively. So you want to set up the Graves to be successful in the later stages, get a lead, get control of objectives, and then anyone trying to face check in, you have the threat of engage from an Ornn, you have the poke potential from the Jayce, and as well just the Heimer set up in the turret. So I expect GamerLegion actually try to find that early advantage in the jungle. For Vodafone Giants, it's a bit more standard, what we typically expect in the meta. Very bot-centric, mid who's going to try and contest prio, and essentially Lamabear is going to try and get work done in the early game to facilitate his team. Yeah, I mean, at both of them, I think the early game is important in this situation.
Well, we're loading through onto Summoner's Rift for the first game of this best of 3 between GamerLegion and Vodafone Giants. Vodafone Giants have the weight of the SLO on their shoulders right now. GamerLegion have knocked out every other SLO representative, and we're going to have a scrap early already. These teams are just meeting up and looking for the action as the hook's going to land out by Visdom. Lamabear throws out the shield and gets himself out there. First blood picked up for Vodafone.
And I mean, it's a good idea in concept to try and stop the Heimer from securing those turrets in the bot lane. It's something you commonly want to do, is that the Heimer will walk down, set up those turrets to give himself an advantage. But in this scenario, I think GamerLegion just overreached. I mean, they try to go onto Lamabear. Sett is not the target you want to try and get this power on, and this is an exact display. So this is Giants knowing Hjarnan will come down here, GamerLegion responding in kind, but they end up catching out the Sett. And if you just look how much damage he soaks in this situation, and then the W back, the Haymaker, enough to keep himself alive and also just decimate the likes of Phones. Just a poor decision from GamerLegion ultimately.
And crucially, he used the flash, but that's not the end of the world because he's got Hex Flash.
Yep.
This is actually great for the Sett. He obviously, no flashes were burnt on the side of GamerLegion. That's at least the one thing they can take away. The Ignite gone down, but Ignite's on a fairly short cooldown anyway, so not the end of the world on that one, but first blood onto Lamabear is going to accelerate his pace.
The critical thing in this situation, though, is the fact that the turrets didn't get set down. That is the big thing here, and already Hjarnan just paced down 3 turrets there, 2 of them being killed, 1 half health. They are not going to be able to find priority in this bot lane, at least not for the time being. So Attila and Erdote got exactly what they wanted out of the situation. The kill was not the important thing. Stopping the turrets from being set up was.
You can see, for the moment, they do have a jungler on this side of the map, although Rabble probably not really going to want to go in for a level 2 gank on the Graves, wants to kind of power farm up a little bit more. You can see Lamabear making his way down, but the difference is they don't know where Lamabear is. Vodafone Giants, they know exactly where Rabble is.
Yeah, and it's just the advantage of that information, that scenario. Losing a member, a little bit rough for GamerLegion. And ultimately, Lamabear pathing towards the bot lane, which is, I think, the important thing in this matchup. You want to be near your Caitlyn Morgana, you want to facilitate them being able to shove, and then also that priority leans into you being able to contest the Scuttle Crab in return.
This is the power of Caitlyn. You do pick it up not just for the fact that it can scale as a pick, but it's also for its pushing power. That early plates you're able to get with the headshots and things like that, all the additional tower damage. This is a great start here for Vodafone Giants coming into this game, but, you know, we're only 2 minutes in, we're only 3 minutes in. Hjarnan is on his specialty. This is something he's pulled out at Worlds, so you can't completely write it off.
It's a rough scenario, though. Being shoved in on a tower with no turrets on the Heimer, very hard to CS in these situations, and you can see it's only a slight lead so far, but Attila and Erdote are starting to pull ahead in that CS department, and considering the proficiency of Hjarnan and how used to he is to play in the Heimer, it is still a little bit rough CSing in these scenarios. He is able to pick them up, all of them up now, but will be a couple of CS behind. Now, actually see a reset coming in from Attila, so he's going to pick up an item on that cheetah recall, and we see Erdote pairing up with Lamabear. And this is something that Erdote does a lot more than Visdom, is he pairs up with that jungler, and they make early moves to try and get an advantage. You can see Rabble a little bit more isolated in the way he plays, but actually they could have found an opportunity here.
Oh, they got a good Black Shield, actually. Pull it back into the Scat of the Week. The Haymaker comes down and pretty secures an easy kill as the Antonio is getting ganked by Rabble and Phones. Has to flash away, but they flash after him, and Antonio in the blind zone as Rabble just looking to run him down, waiting for the reload. One last shot, and Rabble finds the first one for GamerLegion.
Yeah, trader kills in that situation, and I like the proactivity of both teams. Erdote often tends to float around mid and move up there, so I kind of expected something like this could happen, and if you punish a Jayce, it can really become difficult because he's often reliant on these lethality items to get that early spike.
And it's an interesting fact you're talking about Erdote playing with Lamabear, looking to roam up into mid lane. It's something we saw typically from him a lot in group stages. And like you were saying, Visdom doesn't really move around the map without Hjarnan. They actually share the same kill participation. And that's not just pure coincidence. That is, every time these two move, they move together. Now, see this gang once again onto Nite. Just a good Black Shield to make sure there's no way to disengage Lamabear.
Yeah, it was actually kind of misexecuted a little bit because Pretty actually did the Scat of the Week, and the minion then absorbed the binding. So wasn't fully optimal with the cleanse there. Nite would have been able to get out, but either way, they get the kill, they got what they wanted, they burn the Summoner of Nite, and now he's in a bit more of a precarious position because, yes, you have that range that you can utilize, but if you want to put pressure on a Syndra, you're not really going to be able to do it without doing your full rotation of combo on both spells, and that's not really going to happen when you're flashless. You're not going to move up on this Syndra, you're not going to play aggressive and look to challenge the 1v1, because if anyone turns up, you will go down.
And look at Lamabear leading heavily bot side. Know he's got that pressure in the mid and the bot lane right now. So we'll be able to pick up this early dragon for himself. And GamerLegion, they're just going to have to give it up. I'm sure they have some idea of where they've just disappeared off to, but for them, it's a matter of just chilling out for the moment. and waiting to see what they can do a little bit later in.
You got to think about the stakes of this game because it's a best of 3. A 1-game advantage is going to be absolutely massive. And on top of that, we've got in this situation where Giants have left the Heimer open. Having done that, if they win this game, it frees up that ban spot. It puts them in a comfortable position, and it means GamerLegion have to back-to-back win 2 games to find their way back into the series. So for Giants to be having the tempo control already, picking up that dragon, getting success in the bot lane, it's looking pretty comfortable for them. I will say, however, looking to the top side of the map, yes, we did see that kill onto the Antonio, but he has started to fall behind in farm. And in this matchup, if you fall behind the Ornn, he can actually challenge you. He can win trades. He can look to even find a solo kill if he catches you with the ult. And your damage just doesn't remain relevant enough to cut through his tankiness until much later in the game. So a little bit concerned about that, but ultimately he is a Gangplank. He does have that ultimate. If a player goes down somewhere else, he will be able to help.
Yeah, he does still have the ability to impact the map from a distance as Attila has the black shield as Visdom lands the hook. Rabble's just trying to clear some of this vision out and kind of alleviate some of the pressure the GamerLegion are having pushed onto them. But Lamabear just takes his opportunity to move into his jungle and steal away some camps. So Rabble, you know, we think of Graves as a power farming jungler, and he's actually been denied a bit of his own jungle. There's nothing for him to answer up on the blue side of the map from Lamabear. So Lamabear's just getting a free camp here. We'll lose out on the crab though.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that Rabble's happy because he can get the Scuttle Crab, and he does have his Raptors respawning, his Red is up and available, so he's not too concerned in this situation, and ultimately, him being bot side now gives the freedom for Hjarnan to push up, and you can finally see the priority being afforded over this GamerLegion bot lane for essentially the first time in the game.
Now, we've got 40 seconds until the Rift Herald spawns up, and something we saw from Giants a lot is they move both Erdote and Attila up to that top side of the map. It's something we haven't seen for a little while, these lane swaps for the Rift Herald, but Giants are a team that do heavily prioritize this.
Yeah, I'd say the kind of shift we've had in the meta is earlier in the season, it was basically like, okay, it's 7 minutes, we swap top lane, we prioritize the Herald. It hasn't been as standard recently. It still happens for some teams, but for a lot of teams, they're comfortable just having their jungler start up the Herald, potentially moving their support up, and relying on the solo laners. And GamerLegion are looking to move their support up in this situation, which is a little bit different from what we necessarily saw in the group stages. There's a lot of scenarios where they ended up actually just keeping their bot lane boss. So this is a better GamerLegion, more proactivity around this Herald.
It's like they've read into Giants, you know, they've watched the games back, they've seen what their game plan is, and they're going to do that. You're seeing Nite now getting the shove into the mid lane. You were talking about how Jayce is actually capable to kind of deal with Syndra's wave clear now. And this is just 5 members of GamerLegion. Sorry, yeah, picking up this Rift Herald, and there's not going to be a response from Giants. They've swapped too late. They were too slow, and that kind of comes off the back of Hjarnan managed to push that massive wave into Attila, slowing the recall.
Which came from Rabble leaning towards the bot side. That's the important thing. Rabble's bot side, bot lane can push because you have priority. You can swap for the Herald first. It's a knock-on effect in all these situations that really helps GamerLegion get the edge on this objective. So having the Herald in the bag, a really big factor. And I think GamerLegion have sharpened up since what we saw in group stages.
They really have, but they've got a lot of comfort as well. It's not like they've just started to play, you know, complete meta. They're still playing their style.
Which would you say that Heimer's comfort for Hjarnan, maybe?
I would somewhat say that, yeah.
Somewhat to a degree, maybe, potentially. Yeah, I'd agree with that one. I'd agree with that statement.
Looks like Rabble's actually setting up in this top side. Lamabear just trying to clear out some of the vision, but Nite just shoves the wave and steps back. They aren't going to commit for the tower yet. Hjarnan's just going to shove the wave in and look to get an advantage, as Nite will spot out Lamabear. We'll just have to bop him away as the face breaker's used.
It's just funny how they both have phase rush, they both proc it, and they're both speeding around away from each other. Not too much going to come out of that one. Attila once again just using the ult to get some poke on Hjarnan. But at this point, this is one of the things with Heimer, is once you have control of the lane and you have turrets down and then backup turrets, it's very hard to deal with priority. You see how actually Attila killed one of the turrets and another one comes down instantly, and it means that Attila's spending time altering the turrets when they're getting replaced, doesn't have time to alter the wave, and it means that GamerLegion can maintain that priority on that side of the map. We do see Visdom reset here though. He's already moving down and trying to secure vision around this dragon. 35 seconds for that one to spawn.
And you see from the pressure that they've been able to get in these last few moments, in whatever lane Hjarnan goes to, it's actually meant Erdote kind of has to stay with Attila as Rabble may find out Pretty here. Does look for the blind as the Unleashed Power connects, and Pretty's forced to flash. That Syndra with no flash is dragon spawning. Pretty big
flash
win there.
And no ult is a big thing as well. Rabble going to be able to heal up from the Honey Fruit, hasn't moved too much. And ultimately, this Dragon, there isn't really the resources for Giants to contest it. Their bot lane, both members still on the top side. And Hjarnan's able to hold them off 1v2. It's very difficult for them to go forwards on him, being that he is playing that Heimer who can handle those multiple target situations. And with Visdom moving down, they can just take this Dragon for free. I'm thinking the setup from GamerLegion in this game, really good, really solid.
Yeah.
I actually expected Giants to come out with the better early objective play. GamerLegion looking more on point.
They've definitely shifted up a few things here. Visdom hanging around with Rabble. There's definitely been a big change within this team in the way that they've been approaching the game, at least coming out of group stages. As Recall comes out from Erdote, looks to try and join up with his jungler, but Hjarnan is shoving another wave into Attila, and then can look to reset if he pleases. Nite now got the Serrated Dirk and the Mercury Treads, so should be pretty comfortable in a 1v1 versus Pretty, providing the junglers aren't about. And that's going to be on his team making sure that he has the vision to play with. And we can talk a little bit about the vision, because bot side was lit up blue from the fact they were doing that Dragon. But for the moment, they're now starting to move this vision upwards a little bit as well.
Yeah, and actually it's less than a minute till this Herald disappears for Rabble. I've seen the pings from the top side. Looks like their play is going to be around that side of the map. So Giants are already moving up to try and clear out some of this vision. This is important. And we're actually seeing the resets coming in. So I'm not too sure where they're going to go with this Herald. They're actually running out of time. You can see it on the scoreboard. 30 seconds left. Wherever Rabble goes, it needs to happen quickly. And right now, because of the resets coming in from Hjarnan and Visdom, they don't quite have the setup that we typically want for a Herald. The wave that was built up has already crashed. And Attila's now there to be able to bounce it back. So not exactly optimal Herald usage if they do place it down, but it's ticking away. This is not much time left.
He is playing with fire right now. Looks like Rabble is going to look to try and place it in the top lane. We'll summon it up here, as he's got Visdom at his back, so they should be able to clear through this wave fairly quickly. And now Erdote has to be a little bit careful. Binding will get dodged out by Rabble. Lamabear's made his way over as well, so it's onto GamerLegion to shove this wave in and make sure that they do actually pick that gold up to Hjarnan. He takes an ace in the hole. Another dodge on the Binding here.
This is not optimal Herald usage, because essentially it's going to take 2 plates. That's kind of the standard. You're not going to be able to get too much more, but they are TPing. They're looking for it.
Oh, they're going to take more. The Death Charge comes in. The Cannon Barrage is there. Here's the call of the Forge Squad. Visdom's already a casualty of this fight. Nite trying to fire over the wall as Pretty has flanked him and zoned him out. Does have that unleashed power as Nite is just dodging away on all of those orbs, and it's just going to be a 1 for none. As some plates are gifted over to GamerLegion.
Yeah, just a very rushed setup from GamerLegion. I feel like they should have looked for that play earlier. They should have set up and stacked the wave so that you had a lot more minions to work with and could lower the tower initially.
Pretty's in for her. He just gets slapped back by Nite, the unleashed power. And Nite finds the kill. Down goes the mid laner.
Yeah, Pretty a little bit disrespectful without the flash on that Syndra. Looked like he was trying to step up to Nite. Realistically, get under your tower, make sure you're safe. Wait for the vision setup, which wasn't enabled there before you start to set up in the lane. But we'll see a replay. So they've thrown the Herald down. They're like, okay, we got to make this work. Let's TP in to hold the wave, which is already reduced. And then a great binding from Erdote. Manages to catch out Visdom. He's gone initially, and the rest of them just have to run away because the tower's starting to hit. The ult from GP is, and 5 members are there from Giants to mitigate the pressure. So it was a rushed Herald from GamerLegion. That's the thing I want to highlight. Very rushed. The setup wasn't there, and Giants responded well.
Giants absolutely did. You can see the individual gold on all of the members here. It's fairly close between these teams. The item spikes are starting to come through as Hjarnan's picked up his Luden's Echo, got a stopwatch. Ghostblade finished up onto Nite. Pretty actually has had that Luden's for a little bit now. And Attila building towards... I don't know if that's going to be a Storm Razor or an Infinity Edge first. He's got the components for both. So we'll see.
I reckon it'll be the Infinity Edge is standard, then you go Storm Razors after. It's going to start to get towards that mid-game power trough we typically see from the Caitlyn. The 2-item Infinity Edge Storm Razor does help to mitigate it, but especially against a mage like Hjarnan the Heimer, the Ludens is such a big spike in terms of CDR, the AP, and even the mana just helps with longevity, so it's going to be a bit of a rough spot. I actually think the mid-game from GamerLegion is really strong, but later on, Giants are going to come online. See Phones looking for the Antonio.
And actually, I think Nite from the Unsealed Spellbook takes the tower. Antonio is going to be able to survive, but Phones all-ing in him. This is what you were talking about, is actually Rabble's making his way over. Looks like Antonio is just going to be out there, doesn't want to deal with it.
But yeah, this can happen in this matchup. Is a lot of people are happy taking the Gangplank and the Ornn, but if you fall behind, it's a very fickle situation because you just lack the damage to cut through Ornn. And Ornn, is an assassin as well as a tank and can take out Rabble.
Rabble jumps over the wall, the unleashed power lands, he gets the ultimate off, has that blast cone, but Lamabear takes him down.
Just an overstay, needed to read the map in that situation, didn't respect the roam up, spent too long, and a trade, well not even a trade, because the Antonio got away. It's just a free kill for Rabble's overextension. On top of that, the flash going down as well. And we can actually see, if you look at his death timer, and then we look at the dragon timer, exactly the same time. That is, I would say, not ideal if you're trying to secure that third dragon.
It's going to be very hard for them to contest this. The Rift Herald is on the map as well, so maybe some kind of a cross-map play comes out as Phones. Actually uses the exhaust onto Pretty just to try and zone him off for the moment. Rabble's alive, and Dragon hasn't been started by either team. Hjarnan has shoved a small wave into Attila, but it's fairly stuck in the middle of the lane, so no one has full control for the moment. And it looks like Giants are setting up.
Critically, the Antonio hits level 11, 2 points the ultimate, and he just refalls for the Triforce. So this Gangplank really strong in this situation. Traps are being set up around here. GamerLegion trying to approach though.
Yeah, they're coming in. That's Erdote taking a lot of damage. Dragon's already picked up. Cannon Barrage onto free as the Antonio gets blinded for the moment, and it's just a complete whitewash in favor of Giants for the moment. GamerLegion, they're just going to be sent packing.
Again, this is a scenario where GamerLegion make a mistake. First time round, it was the late Herald without the setup. This time, it's Rabble going down, and yet they still try and contest this objective. It's very hard when you're going up against the likes of a Morgana Caitlyn to come to an objective late, because the trap's already set up. You're walking into blind bindings that are hard to dodge, and you can see the result there. It just wasn't really possible for them to approach the fight properly.
Well, it is Infinity Edge for Attila. I think you actually did note that before the last fight, if I'm going to be honest.
No, I actually noted the Triforce.
Oh, okay.
Antonio, and the 2 points on ultimate. That's another thing, if you're approaching through a choke point, Gangplank ult can be devastating. It was utilized really well by Giants. They've done a good job in this game, where I felt like GamerLegion had that early momentum from some smart moves. GamerLegion have kind of overcommitted to losing plays, and Giants are happy to pick up the rewards.
And it's the momentum of this game has been very back and forth. There was a good pickup early by Giants with that kill on to Phones, and then resulted in them getting control of their mid lane, their bot lane. And then the kills, some of the map cross-map rotations by GamerLegion have just caught Giants sleeping a little bit. But for the moment, the gold lead is in favor of the SLO for Vodafone Giants. They're 1k up, make that. And it looks like both of these bot laners are now just dealing with the mid.
I mean, at this point, Hjarnan can just decimate the waves. Attila takes a bit longer. Nite coming in with some really effective poke there. Just putting a lot of pressure on this bot lane. Hjarnan's super confident on the Heimer. He's got the flash, got the stopwatch. Any investment into him does take time, and as a result, Rabble and Visdom moving down for the Antonio.
They're looking for the Antonio. Miss out. First bop up. The second bop up's enough, and Rabble finds the kill nice and easy. That's one in the bot lane for GamerLegion.
Yep, loving this setup there. Rabble and Visdom moving together a lot more than we saw in the group stages, and there have been several situations they've benefited from that. You see Lamabear moving up to the top side to try and respond, but Nite quickly recalls, and as a result of people from Giants defusing out, this has left Attila alone in the mid lane.
Yeah, Attila's just going to get blinded, going to get stunned, going to get hooked. Attila able to flash away, and he's actually able to survive. Attila is outie. Now Lamabear comes in, suplexes Visdom back as he's going to take a little bit of damage here. Has got himself the Haymaker that survives. The hook by Visdom goes wide, and I think for him, that's probably okay.
Yeah, that was a bold decision to try and hook in there, but does end up walking away. The result is Phones with that time in the bot lane from the Antonio going down, gets a tower. And on top of that, as much as Attila did get away, both summoners end up getting burned. So still a good attempt regardless from the side of GamerLegion.
And it looks like neither team are going to prioritize this Rift Herald. It's despawning in a few seconds time, so looks like they just put the attention on to those plays. Able to crack open the top and bot lane. Phones has actually been able to cash in on all of that gold, so he's actually up fairly significantly here. He's got the Abyssal Mask, he's got the Sunfire Cape. He's level 12.
Yeah.
Level 14 is when even more power spikes start to get handed out to GamerLegion.
13 is when he gets his upgrades, and the Ornn becomes really hard to deal with, especially when you have the likes of Caitlyn, who, with the items she has, isn't going to be able to cut through an Ornn. So at this point in the game, especially with the lethality items coming in for Rabble and Nite, GamerLegion are close to some big spikes, and that is where they can really start to put down the pressure. Now, unfortunately for them, having only one dragon out of the 3 taken so far means that they're a while away from leaning into a soul potential. But with Baron now up and available, if there's any team that can potentially rush it, it's definitely a team with a Heimer.
I will go for the Sanguine Blade. I haven't seen. We obviously saw that from. I believe it was actually Hjarnan who played that when he played the Jin mid.
Yeah. I mean,
is it a common thing for Graveses?
I think in general, overall, the item is growing in popularity because there's a lot more situations that you think where you benefit from it. And even without the sort of best case scenario where you're getting that attack speed and the extra lethality, the stats alone aren't exactly too much to pass up at. So if someone does dive deep from the likes of Giants, for example, Lamabear, then it's one enemy champion nearby, you're benefiting from that passive, it can really benefit your skirmishing.
Well, you can see the gold is 900 between these two teams.
Okay, you need to work on that because
it changed as I said it. By the way,
that's 300. That's 200.
What? What's going on?
They didn't gain 600 gold in a second.
Honestly, I'm sorry, my maths. What's going on? Oh no!
It's fine. We'll get some maths lessons, okay?
That's what we're doing in the off season for me.
Yeah,
maths lessons.
We'll help you. With
I wasn't very good at maths in school.
Really?
I know it might come to a bit of surprise to you guys at home. I wasn't that great at it, but. Tell you something these teams are good at, and it is fighting. Lamabear throws out the Haymaker to survive. Visdom dodges out on a lot, but he's going low. The shield's on. Visdom is down as Antonio flashes forward into the double knockup, and he will lose his life. So far, it's a 1-for-1. Lamabear, low HP. Hjarnan, low HP. And Rabble chasing Lamabear down. Throws out the ultimate, but a great shield will negate that for now as Phones dodges out on the binding. And it looks like GamerLegion are the team who have the inside track into the Infernal Drake.
And honestly, that was just pure greed coming out from the Antonio. The enemy support has used all of his cooldowns, is 1 HP, walking out the fight, and you decide to flash in and trade your life for the kill. That is greedy if I've ever seen it, and actually gives a really favorable fight to GamerLegion to take up the back end, and ultimately they are spiking at this point. Level 13 was already hit by Phones. Oh. He is so tanky right now. You see that crit come in from Caitlyn, barely tickled the Ornn.
On the other side though, Nite, he is smacking people about right now. Now Lamabear will be spotted out by Rabble and Hjarnan. Pink Ward's going to survive for now, but I don't think they're going to stay. I don't think they're going to go down for it, but let's have a little look at this play once again.
Yeah, so initially, again, engage on Lamabear, not always the best option. Has the black shield, but it does get quickly popped, but it's just a Haymaker, gives him so much survivability. And Visdom, overextending the situation. I mean, look at his health. He's used everything. He's out this fight. He's useless. The Antonio flashes him. This is pure greed, and you can see just how he instantly pays for it and regrets that decision. There was no need to commit for the Nautilus. He was already useless.
I think that was a little lucky for GamerLegion, but the Antonio decided to get that greedy because in the long run,
in his eyes.
In the long run, that is actually what secured them the Dragon. Losing that member, losing the Gangplank meant they didn't feel particularly comfortable because it wasn't a lot really given up by GamerLegion.
Well, I mean, Gangplank was super strong there, having the Triforce, full HP, had his flash available as well if ever he wants to help commit to a play, and you trade all that for Visdom was out the fight. It was just an overreach, and as you said, really played in GamerLegion's hand because their engage wasn't exactly optimal, despite the fact that they are feeling really strong right now. And you see Rabble and Visdom working together to secure some vision around this Baron, and this is something that Giants need to keep their eye on because, again, with the Heimer, with the Graves, and the Jayce, that is a fast Baron. You give GamerLegion a couple of seconds too much, and they could have it low enough so that you can't contest it.
Both of these teams are trying to get as much vision as possible around that area. I couldn't expect anything more from the SLO's remaining seed versus the SLO Slayers. That's what they are this European Masters. They've killing every team from the Superliga Oranger.
Yeah, so GamerLegion in the play-in knockouts took out G2 Arctic, and then in the tiebreakers for group stages took out Movistar Riders. If GamerLegion win this series, that is every single SLO representative taken out by one team, which would be huge and also devastating for the SLO. This is their last team to keep their hopes alive, and recently the SLO haven't been as dominant a force as they used to be. It's very much been about the Prime League and the LFL recently. The SLO wants to keep their relevancy alive, and it's all down to Giants in this situation.
Well, the SLO haven't won since 2018 with Mad Lions. That was the last time they took this tournament.
Yeah, you think about the likes of Self-Made Nemesis. They were the last people to win for the SLO. So when you've seen them in the LEC, all that time they've been there, the SLO hasn't been winning.
I think also, though, for the Duck region, I said Duck there, not Duck.
Yeah, for the Duck region.
For the Duck region.
Let's go with that.
For the Duck region, it's it's been a while since, you know, I mean, not been a while, but they had a rough spring.
Yep, they absolutely did. Spring was not great for them. 3 seeds, didn't make semis. Their first seed get knocked out in groups. But right now I'm going to hone in something in-game for you, Jay. Take a look at Hjarnan's items. That Rabadon's have just been upgraded. That is a spike.
And they want to fight on the spike. 2 people get knocked up, and they're just going to zone away, take down this mid lane turret as Visdom. Standing still for the moment, has found out pretty, but actually maybe it's him who's been found out. He's going low HP, gets caught out by a massive scout of the week. Stopwatch is used as he's inside the cannon barrage, and Visdom is able to get away with a sliver of health once again.
And the Antonio isn't in range to flash on him and kill himself, so Visdom does walk away. Ultimately was overextended there, but Giants still looking for more.
Lamabear wants it, slams Rabble back, pulls 2 in with the face breaker. Rabble just jumps over the wall. Binding does connect onto Hjarnan. Hjarnan stopwatches away.
Turret damage.
Low health for the moment. The turret damage is a lot, and Nite comes forward, trying to land those shock blasts, unable to do so. Dodges out on the binding by the skin of his teeth. Hjarnan goes down as the only victim of the fight.
Super precarious fight there. Ultimately, Giants come out ahead, but the low health bars from committing into the Heimer turrets was devastating there. They're not able to translate into the war. And as well with that poke coming out from the Jayce, despite the fact that Giants managed to take down a member of GamerLegion. GamerLegion are the ones with control of the area. And a big thing as well, I mean, this is just bullying at this point.
Attila. Lamabear thinks he's found phones, but Rabble is about.
Yeah,
you also have Erdote.
You're a full-time Sett. I don't think you're killing phones, I'm going to be completely honest. Does give him a little love tap, but we now see Hjarnan respawning as the dragon comes in. He's going to be running over. GamerLegion might have to give up some pressure in this situation, because obviously they're not 5 members strong. Attila is running over at the same time, though. Critically, you can see Nite resetting. He's going to TP in with an item spike. Both teams looking to contest this one. Soul point for whichever side secures this.
Remember, Hjarnan isn't here. Well, he's only just made it, so he can't actually set up, as they do find out one. Antonio is going to take a hook, but able to sustain a lot of this as Erdote takes half his health for the moment, and that is going to be Dragon for Vodafone Giants. Soul point for them. GamerLegion just weren't in the position to contest.
Now having Hjarnan there to get the turret set down, get control of the area, make it difficult for Giants to approach means that Giants are able to slide in. Attila puts a row of traps down, and they can very easily pick up that dragon. 1 away from that soul, and Infernal Soul, incredibly powerful, especially team compositions like this. But GamerLegion want to start this Baron up, and
he said it was quick.
Aware of it. It's quick, but they are moving over. They are aware this is happening. GPL comes in.
Half health already. Visdom gets interrupted on the Hex Flash, and that's going to be Baron picked up for GamerLegion. Lamabear's inside the pits. He's taking so much damage. Visdom's just dealing with the rest of the team, and it's a 1-for-1 for Baron for GamerLegion.
I mean, it's just GamerLegion are just like, oh, they have vision at first, they have GPL, we don't care. We just start Baron. It's gone. The speed on this was insane. So Visdom makes the call to sort of serve as an interruption role in this situation. Ends up getting knocked up there by the Baron, unfortunately, but he doesn't care. Visdom's accepted his fate. He's not bothered. Lamabear too late. It goes down so quickly, and he's left 4 against 1, as is Visdom, and it's a 1-for-1 trade, but when one side gets the Baron, they're very clearly the winner.
Yeah, I don't think Visdom opted into dealing with the rest of the team. I think Baron opted him into that. Crucially, though, he did actually stop
the Hex Flash. Yeah.
He did actually stop Antonio from getting a barrel chain off. He autoed that barrel, which probably could have done a lot of damage.
I mean, honestly, either way, whether the Baron interrupted him or whether it was a choice, it just led them to get the Baron.
The stars aligned.
Exactly, you know.
But now, though, they've got this Baron buff. Going to send 4 into the mid lane, and Hjarnan's going to do his best to zone Attila away from his towers, but Attila should be able to take those out. Phone's up in the top lane, and there's a big wave crashing in bot lane.
There's actually a surprising amount of poke available. Obviously from the Jayce, that's a given, but if Hjarnan managed to find some long-range rockets, it can devastate. Now Attila is able to dip and dive away from a couple of shock blasts in a row, but all you have to do is hit with 1 or 2, and that you have to reset. Now you see the rockets come in. He's looking, but Lamabear will soak them on him. Pretty is looking for an angle.
They're actually just looking at a hard poke here. Collateral damage thrown out by Rabble as well.
You just have to back off there. Even with a red buff to heal up, you still have to back away. And the pressure from GamerLegion pretty huge in this situation. They're going to look to capitalize on phones. Lamabear was floating there with Pretty, but it isn't going to amount to anything. Erdote finally gets dodged away. Tower will just go down in this situation. Again, it's so hard to engage onto a Heimer. If you mess it up, you take so much damage.
Look at Phones. He has been spotted out on the wards. Vodafone Giants will spot him out as he places the wall down as well. So he knows where everybody is. And GamerLegion, so far, been able to take one turret with this Baron buff. Question to me is, can they crack anything else? Can they pick anything else up for themselves? Attila!
That hit me. That hit me in my soul, seeing that damage. That's half your HP gone. They're going to rotate over to the bot side. You can see Attila's going to stay and just be able to heal up with the lifesteal and the ruined bones. Could be in trouble, but does manage to get a good knock-up to peel away, and that's a second tower gone down. Pretty is fishing for these stuns, but is unable to land one, and GamerLegion are just unfazed with the situation.
And Pretty is going to be able to do a lot, but the damage god comes down, and they get the heal off. They got the cannon barrage to keep them safe for the moment. Scout of the week does land, and Nite will lose his life. Pretty finds the shutdown. Lamabear slams back phones as he is stunned up, locked down, and can't shield to save his life. It is a 1-for-1 jungle for mid.
I mean, it's just amazing to me that's a 1-for-1. When I saw that damage from Nite, I was like, that's it. That's your tower gone, your inhibitor. You're possibly going to lose a fight and maybe more, but a good stun finally comes in for Pretty. They're able to turn things around and find favor, and it ends up being just a 1-for-1, which Giants are happy with. Ultimately, you look at the situation that happened in that Baron, which is now timed out. They're only 600 gold behind.
Yeah.
Considering the amount of structures that GamerLegion picked up, to only be that far behind, you are happy with, and looking towards that next dragon spawning in 45 seconds. That is soul if Giants can get it.
And you saw how much damage Pretty was able to do. You can see, but Attila on that 100% crit now with that Zeal in his pocket.
95.
Is it 95? It's 95.
Wait.
No, it is. It gives you, yeah, it is 100%.
Yeah, right. Changes too often.
So you got a lot of crits, and then you've also got the Infernal Soul proc on that long-range crit from the Caitlyn. He is going to be doing some serious, serious damage.
Yeah, and this is where Giants are going to stop pulling ahead of the curve compared to GamerLegion. They still need a bit more time, but they're starting to hit their spikes. Caitlyn on 3.5 items is huge. Traps are already set up. GamerLegion looking to approach right now. Rabble needs to be a bit careful, but does have that spell shield. The gauge coming in.
They got that Call of the Forge God. Gonna land the knock-up only onto one as Visdom looks for the hook. Isn't able to get it. Binding. Connects
Rabble.
out here, but look at Rabble on that flank. He's found himself one. He's gonna get pulled back. He's able to survive for just a little bit longer as Attila takes him down. But it's a whitewash for GamerLegion. Nite flashes forward, and Attila is the only one who stands. Look for the empowered shot blast. Can Nite land it? Ghostblade is on. Has worn off, and Attila will get behind the minions and able to survive. Soul point for GamerLegion. This game is coming down to the wire.
Rabble with shoes there, playing the assassin game on the Graves, able to find the backline access and honestly just decimate them. I was feeling like, Attila.
Oh no. X Flash is coming out. Flash is over. Visdom lands the hook. They do have a little bit. This is the shot block.
What?
And Attila gets himself a double kill. Oh my lord. Goes out for the ultimate onto Hjarnan as well. And that is going to be all she wrote.
What? He was a rooted target. He was rooted. How would you miss that? It's...
Oh no.
It's like shooting fish in a barrel and you miss somehow.
I think
looking.
He's not going to get anyone. Okay. I think no matter what the outcome of this series, that's going to be one that Nite's going to think about tonight. Yeah. He's going to be lying in bed and go, I can't believe I missed that shot blast.
Those are 2 AM torch, lying in bed, and you can't sleep, and that is what is in your mind.
I feel bad for that one moment over and over again.
Visdom has been sacrificed so many times. Sometimes his fault, sometimes not. He's definitely trying to save that engage role, but that one I will definitely put on tonight.
All right, so the Sun's Hourglass has been picked up onto Hjarnan. Everybody on GamerLegion are teleporting into this mid lane. They've got the supers pushing up. That bot lane turret is fairly low from that earlier siege when they had Baron last time. And you can tell the attention is towards that. They don't have any vision in the area. And Vodafone Giants, they have the Scuttle Crab. They got a pink in the pit. They've got a few wards.
Remember, it doesn't matter. GamerLegion don't care if you have vision. They will do the Baron just because they can. And you have to be cautious about that. You don't have much time. Giants will move over, but GamerLegion looking for some poke or some engage. In this fight, you've got to be... It's just going to be gone. Lamabear's over the wall. Does have flash.
Can he do it? Lamabear jumps in, unable to steal it away. Lamabear slams out, try and get a bit of safety as he is taken down. Call of the Forge God will land up. Is actually knocked out, and the Phones misses it for the moment. So Antonio able to survive, but Nite hunting for a shot blast. Maybe he can land it this time. The bouncing bombs go a little bit wide from Hjarnan. The good scan of the week does a lot of damage. And Tota,
it wasn't even
loses about 60% of his health.
He was aiming for Pretty. Tota just
still hit it. Doesn't matter. Still hit it.
Yeah, the damage stat goes up, but ultimately GamerLegion confident to start the Baron, and I think the reason why is, taking a look at Rabble's level 17 on his Graves, farming up a Storm, compared to Lamabear who's level 13, that's not a 50-50. It's not a 50-50 when you're 4 levels up. That's like a 80-20. And unfortunately, Lamabear was forced to try and do the best he can, wasn't able to secure the Baron, and GamerLegion continuing with this momentum. And you can see, level 13 versus level 17, it's going down fast. Giants know that they have to try and steal this one, but Lamabear's going to flash over, and it's not even going to be at the point where he can smite. 928. You're not even close. You're not even close at all to being able to smite that one. This was just no scenario where Lamabear is able to steal that unless you get extremely lucky with when the health drops. And Giants lose a member, lose the Baron. Now back on that defensive duty we saw them doing earlier.
Hjarnan stepping up, setting up the turrets to try and get some control around the area. They do have the ability to take out these turrets fairly easily now, because it is well and truly late game as the Attila takes a lot of damage. Collateral damage comes down as well. And Attila's trying to step up. Looks like Vodafone Giants are going to lose another inhibitor here. Not going to commit for the finish yet. It's a little bit too risky just to try and close out. Going to base up, going to spend that gold. And I want to see when Attila's going to come online. He's 6-0. He's got 100% crit. All his crit items are finished up. Hasn't finished his last Whisper, but this is late game Caitlyn.
I'm a little bit confused about this item decision from Attila, because I know there's obviously value in the likes of a Last Whisper. Having 100% crit feels nice, obviously. But when you're getting poked so heavily, there's 2 items I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Bloodthirst, I'm thinking of Death Stance. Those are the items that would make it a lot harder for you to just get dealt with by a Shock Blast from Nite or some stray rockets from Hjarnan. I honestly feel like I would have preferred to see one of the lifesteal options to keep himself healthy in the fight, because ultimately, that Mortal Reminder, it's only really getting massive value against phones, and he isn't the big threat right now.
He's really not. He's doing his job, but it doesn't matter if you can kill him or not, because normally he's landed that Call of the Forge God already. The last structure outside the base for Vodafone Giants
you look
goes
at
down.
Attila, he's healing, 60-30 health. You give him a Bloodthirst, and it's like 200 plus HP heals. I think that would have been the right call in this situation. See, GamerLegion still trying to play. That is
Pretty is just chunked. They use the redemption. Tota has to use it on himself in the end. Last inhibitor goes down. Here's the cannon barrage. Lamabear jumps in forward, uses that showstopper as Phones is just dealing with them on the back line. Nite snipes out Erdote as the Call of the Forge God knocks up free. Attila's been exhausted and Phones is still alive. Here comes Nite and Hjarnan onto that flank. They're the ones going a little bit low, and it looks like that's going to be it for GamerLegion. They're going to step away.
Attila just can't approach in these situations, just so cautious about getting caught out. One bit of CC, one stray Shock Blast is enough to just take you out the fight.
Look at the pings.
I mean, they're looking towards this dragon. TP's coming in. This is sold for either side.
Bones is here. Rabble, remember, level 18 to level 14. The smite is going to be significantly different right now as Rabble jumps in forward and it secures the dragon for his team. That's going to be Attila going down as Hjarnan takes him out, and GamerLegion will just rout Giants out of their jungle and back into their base.
Huge fight coming in there. Hjarnan with the flank onto Attila.
Oh no, Pretty flashed over, uses the Unleashed Power, uses the Scatter the Weak, and finds the shutdown. Pretty beautifully executed by him, but Hjarnan, he's the one here to do the damage, and they flash forward. Pretty goes golden, but he's on top of the turrets. The hook lands onto the Morgana, and Heimerdinger finds another kill. This is going to be game number 1 going to GamerLegion.
Just a huge performance from GamerLegion in this one. We saw some innovation compared to how they were playing in groups, but ultimately we saw some brilliant mid to late play where, yes, they found the setup for objectives, they found the picks, they had the confidence to start those Barons, and those team fights. Rabble on the Graves with that flank where he just decimated them, and then Hjarnan at the end running in and just one-shot Attila. I mean, it was just some beautiful play.
I think one of the strengths I've always loved about GamerLegion is their ability to execute their comps and understand how their comp works.
Yeah.
I think one of the issues we had was sometimes some of their map rotations and the decision making was a little off. This time it looked like they came into this game, read what Giants wanted to do, and executed on it.
Yeah, there was still moments though. There was definitely those mid-game moments where we saw some points where we questioned Giants start to keep themselves in the game, but ultimately it wasn't enough. And it's decisiveness around the things like the Baron that really gave favor over the side of GamerLegion.
Yeah, well, with that, that is the first win over the GamerLegion, guys. We are going to whip out our Zhonyas, and we will see you after stasis.
a squad on my right.
I'm running in for backup.
Yo, Ron, he's right there in front of you.
Ugh. Sorry guys, it happened again.
Damn, that's one today.
All right, I'm back.
Someone cover me.
Got him, you got him. Yo, that's sweet.
Yeah, it is. We about to win this.
I can get used to this.
HyperX Alloy. Built strong because it has to be.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the European Masters. We're breaking down Game 1 between GamerLegion and Vodafone Giants. And GamerLegion, that was a good game from them. They got a lot of what they wanted. But they also played a style that we haven't seen for a while. We saw Visdom moving around with Rabble. The jungle support synergy was something that we were a little critical of coming into this series.
Yeah, and I think the draft was a big one that can enable Rabble, and we saw that happen because over the course of the game, he ended up getting super powerful in this Graves, ended up with, you know, a massive CS lead over the likes of Lamabear, and as much as Lamabear had some good early skirmishes, he just lost relevancy in the later stages, and we just got to a point where there was so much power on the side of GamerLegion. This poke, I mean, you see these shock blasts come in, it's just devastating. This flank from Rabble, this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying strength from the Graves. One shot's pretty, manages to finish off Erdote, and then it looks like he's going to go down, flashes away and survives, but the team fight, oh, actually does go down the crit, never mind, but the team fight's won. That's the important thing.
It was honestly just stellar. This was actually our final fight. They secured themselves the dragon, and it was just Rabble so far ahead of Lamabear.
Again from Hjarnan on the Heimer, finding the enemy AD carry. Not a thing that often happens when you're up against a late game Caitlyn, but does find that opportunity to punish. And my big question mark coming out from this is you guys left the Heimer open. that was a decision to leave that Heimer open for Hjarnan, and you lost. You are now having to win 2 games in a row to make this series yours. Do you leave the Heimer open again?
Well, I can tell you, Vodafone Giants opted into blue side this time. Game 1, they opted into red side. This time, they're on blue side. What does that change up?
Well, I think one big thing being on blue side is you're much more free to throw out the Heimer ban. I think a big thing that's very typical is on red side, we see bans like the Hecarim, the Caitlyn, things that teams are like, we can't leave open. Now, what's been an issue against GamerLegion is since a lot of teams have been banning the likes of Ziggs and Heimer, on red side, that really hurts because you're leaving open other tools that they've loved to utilize. Now that they're on blue side, it doesn't matter nearly as much. On blue side, you have a lot more, say, pocket pick bans.
Yeah.
You're much more happy to throw bans to like, okay, we'll target this because they're very good in the champion. So I think this is going to be a nice shift up for the likes of Vodafone Giants. Honestly, coming in the series, I thought they would go for opt into blue side. They actually chose red side themselves, which is a little bit interesting to me. And I think the strategy wasn't necessarily bad. I think the draft wasn't necessarily bad coming out there for Vodafone Giants, but the execution just was not as good as GamerLegion.
I think that's definitely coming into this game. They need to reassess how they thought GamerLegion were going to play, because I think they thought in their heads GamerLegion were going to play a certain way, like they've done throughout the entirety of groups. But at the end of the day, it wasn't quite enough.
I mean, I felt like GamerLegion weren't going to be as proactive early game. I felt like, honestly, from what I'd seen of Giants, from what I've seen of GamerLegion, I felt like it'd be Giants dictating the pace early. I felt like we'd see potentially that 8-minute Herald swap or 7-minute Herald swap they've been very much set on, and the momentum would be in favor of Giants, and it's only the mid-game where GamerLegion would come online. I feel like GamerLegion stepped up for this series, and Giants are the ones you're going to have to answer.
Well, with that, GamerLegion are 1-0 up in the series, and they're 1 game away from knocking out all of the SLO representatives here at the European Masters Summer 2020. So we'll be back after the break to find out whether or not Vodafone Giants have what it takes to fight back.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the EU Masters, where we pit the very best ERL teams against one another while showcasing up-and-coming European talent. 12 regions will compete to decide who will reign supreme over Europe, so be the first to scout and the first to cheer. Let's get right into it. EU Masters begins with the play-in group stage, where all regions will have at least 1 team represented, with a total of 16 teams divided into 4 groups. Here, each team will play against other teams in their group twice, with the top 2 seeds moving on to the play-in knockout stage. The winners here will move on to the group stage, where 12 teams have already pre-qualified. This group stage is where the teams will compete in a double round robin, with the top 2 teams advancing to the knockout stage. From September 15th to 16th, like before, top seeds will play against the second-seeded teams from other groups in a best-of-3, with winners moving on to the semi-finals. Here, the final 4 teams will play a best-of-3 and fight for their spot in the finals, where it'll be a best-of-5 to determine the next EU Masters champion. Each season, fresh talent explodes onto the Rift. The likes of Nemesis, Kazi, Selfmade, and Humanoid all rose up through the EU Masters. But who will be this year's champion? Who will be the next breakout player to make it into the LEC? Join the ride, tag along, and witness history in the making by